Hey YouTube, I'm back once again. I decided to make a quick video just to show how I did my buildings, in fact going in and out of them. It's actually really simple. I've got some here, a nice big one that I could fit NPCs inside. I can get stuck inside them and I can pass through them on the outside. And for this video I'll just be doing the small one because it's quick and easy to show. Alright. What we'll be doing is just creating a new scene and a 2D scene, and let's just call this hut new, and of course it'll need some sprites. We'll need one for the interior and one for the exterior, so let's just call this one interior. Let's add another one exterior. And I've already prepared some sprites in a sprite. So let's put the exterior texture here and the interior one here. So they're basically just layers. If I disable the exterior, we can see inside, and if it's enabled, it covers. So yeah, it's really easy. Let's add a script. We will need some way of detecting when the player is actually here, so for that let's use a area 2D. And we'll need to make sure that the collision is on the same layer as the player. And add a collision shape 2D. We'll just make this a square or a rectangle and put it in the doorway. It doesn't have to be so big. If the player is standing here, he'll still trigger it, so that's fine. And we'll need to connect this to our script. The player is a rigid body, so I'm going to check when body is entered, and it's named player, so very simply the body here will be the player, so if the body name is player, then we know that the player has entered. Then we can just simply set our exterior to disabled and it'll be fine. However, I think I'm going to do this through a variable. So let's hold this can enter or exit terrible variable name, but anyway, we'll start off with this as false. If the player enters, then let's set this to true. And I'll connect another signal for if the player exits. Set this variable to false. I think I'm also going to do this on key press, so let's add a function for that. We'll check the input. And if the player pushes, let's use up. First, let's check if he can actually enter or exit, and then if he pushes up, let's disable the exterior. And let's do down for exiting. So if he action is just pressed down, set it back to visible. Let's just check this that it works. I actually have this on my level anyway. Just throw it on here at the spawn point for now. Here for testing purposes. So the first one is our hut. I've got it on the wrong layer. But at least entering and exiting does work. So to set this further back, I think -10 should be good. Okay, there we go. You can still walk out of it. So we're going to need to just stop the player from moving with a body. Let's use a rigid body for that. Since my hut is round, unfortunately, I'm going to need a collision polygon, but it would be much easier to do that with just some collision shapes that are square if you have a square building. And just do this quite rough for now. Try and make it kind of the same on each side. I'll start off with this disabled and then enable it when he's inside. And let's make sure that the player can actually collide with it. We'll also want to freeze it so it doesn't move around. It shouldn't be affected by gravity or physics or anything. And let's just check if everything is fine. What we'll need to do then is, if he is inside, we'll not disable it, so we'll enable it. And if he is outside, we'll disable it again. Okay, works fine. Great. And the final touch, we'll just zoom the camera a bit so my player actually has a camera 2D attached to him. It has a zoom property. I've got that set to 3, so we'll need to zoom in further than that. So on our hut, let's store the player in a variable. Let's just call that player so we can get it from here. And if he leaves the area, we'll just set it back to null. So if he enters the house, let's use a tween to zoom smoothly. So let's create a new tween. And we shall tween the property of the object. So we want the player, and let's get the camera. The property that we want to tween is called zoom. It takes some variables, so the zoom is actually a vector 2. We'll pass it something greater than I had, which was 3 originally, so let's set that to 4. And the final property here is the duration, the time, so let's do that in 0.4 seconds. I think we actually need to pass this a string. Could be wrong though. And when he exits. Let's just set this back to 3. Sorry, we'll need to create a new tween here as well. Okay, let's see if this works. And it does, and that's it. One other thing that I could do is on my player perhaps create a variable. Just for example, I could have something that's we could call it something like walking, and maybe by default it's false, so he runs, and then we could create some extra animations for walking. If he's inside the building, slow him down, play some walk animations instead of run animations. I could also have a variable to check that he's inside a building, and then he can talk to NPCs that are also inside, for example. There's lots of options, really. But yeah, that's it for this very simple building. Cheers.